Russia is hiking state spending on national defense by a quarter in 2025 to 6.3% of gross domestic product (GDP), the highest level since the Cold War, according to the draft budget documents. Defense spending will rise to 13.5 trillion rubles, 14 billion 145 billion dollars in 2025, the fourth year of what Russia calls a special military operation in Ukraine, up to 25% from the 2024 level, the documents published on Monday showed. Defense spending will account for 32% of total 2025 budget expenditure of 41.5 trillion rubles, $446 billion. The draft budget was officially submitted on Monday to the State Duma, the lower house of parliament, for review. In the last year's draft, the government planned to reduce the defense spending by 21% in 2025. The reversal shows the scale of state planners' continued focus on the military. In 2022, the year the Ukraine war started, Russia spent 5.5 trillion rubles, $59 billion on defense. Resources will be allocated and have already been allocated for re-equipping the armed forces with the necessary weapons and military equipment, paying military salaries, and supporting defense industry enterprises, Russia Ministry of Finance said in a statement. About 10% of total defense spending will go to military personnel payments, which have also hit a post-Soviet high, with the minimum annual wage in the first year of service at the front line reaching 3.25 million rubles, $34,945,000. State spending on national security, a separate item from national defense, which also includes financing of the military and security agencies, will amount to 3.5 trillion rubles, $38 billion in 2025. The total state spending on defense and security will amount to 17 trillion rubles, which is about $183 billion, or almost 41% of total expenditure. It will also stand at 8% of the country's GDP. The share of the GDP is comparable with the estimated military spending share in the late Soviet years, when the Soviet Union was fighting a war in Afghanistan while maintaining a vastly larger nuclear arsenal to counter its Cold War adversaries. Defense spending will exceed twice the amount allocated for social needs, which include pensions, social compensations, and subsidies, projected at 6.5 trillion rubles, $70 billion in 2025. The government will allocate 1.58 trillion rubles, $17 billion, or 0.7% of GDP for education, and 1.86 trillion rubles, $20 billion, or 0.87% of GDP for healthcare in 2025. The government has hiked its projection for the 2024 budget deficit to 1.7% of GDP, up from the previous projection of 1.1%, and the initial projection of 0.9%. The 2025 budget deficit is seen at 0.5% of GDP. Russian oil and gas revenues for the state budget are expected to decline in 2025 to 2027 due to lower commodity prices and tax changes, as the country's largest gas producer, Gazprom, is set to see its tax burden fall. According to Finance Minister Alton, the share of oil and gas in state budget revenues will stand at 27% of total budget revenues. This is lower than in all previous years, and this is good. We are moving away from oil and gas dependency in our budget revenues, he told their state television. So, as 2025 is approaching, every country is expanding their security budget. I just hope that countries in Africa will do the same by investing seriously when it comes to national security, to invest heavily when it comes to equipment to protect their army, to educate their army, to make sure that their armies are equal up to the task. Because if 2024 is like this with all the wars going on here and there, we don't even know what 2025 have in the cupboards for us. So it is better for every country to be ready and be fully equipped and make sure that they can protect their territory at any given time. Yes, African leaders wake up and do whatever it takes to protect your territories. And part of protecting your territories is making away with the colonial pact, is refusing to be a puppet in the hand of these Western, so-called Western powers or Western allies. Rise up to the occasion, take back your countries, take back your resources, and rebuild your various countries and African continent at large.